Dear participants, in this session we will learn about training analytics. In previous two sessions also we have learned about the training matrix which may be useful at a workplace to make a decision. So, similar way in this session also we will learn about some of the metrics related to the transfer of training, which is one of the important thing that every organization look for. If training is being done, so how much these participants have learned. So, what are the matrices? What are the things that we should consider to understand this transfer of training? So, that is what we will discuss in this session. So, first thing is this is the content. So, transfer of training, characteristics for the positive climate for transfer of training, learning culture diagnosis scale, manager support for training, type of training program conducted, method of training, content of the training, percentage of training designed based on which of the following method would you prefer to do a training if you are the employee of any organization. So, this is the content of the table of the content, that is what we will discuss in this session. So, first, being a manager, if you would like to know which one is the biggest obstacle of this transfer of training, which of the following is the biggest obstacle of this transfer of training in your organization, because these all are the obstacle, but in your organization which one is the biggest obstacle. So, what you can do, you can do a survey in your organization among all employees, and from them you can ask what is the biggest hurdle, right? Because of the time pressure like workload, employees are having huge workload, and in addition to that HR department has arranged a training. So, because of that they were focusing on their job, they were not able to focus on the training part, the skill part which is being taught in that particular training. So, because of the work pressure, inadequate facilities which are there for the training department, that could be one of the reason. Few opportunities to use the skills. In some of the organization, what is found that training is given, but immediately after the training those skills are not used in a workplace. So, sometime it gives demotivation to the all employees, right. So, that could be one of the biggest hurdle. Inadequate budget, organization is not having sufficient budget to train their employees. Lack of peer support, so peers are not supporting the employees within the organization to enhance their skills through the training program, and lack of management support. So, these could be these are the some of the regions which because of that transfer of training may suffer in the organization. So, in the organization which one is the most important reason why the training of transfer is suffering, because the moment you will understand why this training of transfer is suffering in your organization, then only you will be able to do something for that particular region. So, this survey that you can conduct among all participants in your organization, whoever is going to attend the training or whoever has attended the training, and accordingly you can analyze after this question, asking this question, you can analyze this question gender wise, department wise, age wise, and what is their response, and based on that you can make your strategies to improve the transfer of training. So, this is one of the thing that you can do it. Next thing that you need to check the climate for the transfer of training, whether the positive climate is there within your organization or not. In order to check this transfer of training, we have 5 statement, that is what we can say this climate. To check this positive climate for the transfer of training, we have 5 statement, right. So, we can give a rating to these all 5 statement based on 1 to 7 rating, that is what we can take, or 1 to 5 we can take. So, any interval scale that we can use to rate, and after that we can do the average. So, for example, in first statement you gave the 4, in next statement you gave the 3, and remaining 3 statement, let us take, in one of the statement you gave 5, then 3 and then 4. So, what is the total? Here you can see 4 and 3, 4 plus 3 plus 5 plus 3 plus 4 divided by 5. So, now you can calculate 7, 10 and 19 divided by 5. So, almost 4, that 3.9 or 3.8, that is what you can say, that is the average. So, that is how you can see out of 9, 3.9 is the score out of 5. Out of 5 is the 3.9 is the score. So, that indicates that what kind of environment climate is there for the transfer of training. If positive climate is high, then transfer of training will take place smoothly. If climate is not positive, then transfer of training, you conduct a very good training, but still the outcome of that training may not be very positive inside the organization. So, if you already know about the climate for the transfer of training, then you can take the decision accordingly, because according to your climate you can make a change in your training method, you can make a change in terms of the external or internal expert, instructor. So, strategy that you can change in order to increase the effectiveness, because you know the right picture of your climate of transfer of training, right. So, that is how you can check the positive climate for transfer of training. So, 5 statements are there. So, this is the that is the index that you can make, and then you can average it and you can calculate ki where your organization stand in term of climate for transfer of training. Next thing that I would suggest all of you to diagnose learning culture within the organization, right. So, here you can count how many statements are there: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11, right. So, similarly you have to rate these all 11 items on 1 to 5 scale, right. You have to average it and you have to check what is the average for this learning culture. If learning culture is poor in the organization, then transfer of training also will suffer, right. So, in the similarly the way you had calculated, you had understood the positive climate for transfer of training, in the same way you need to understand the learning culture in your organization, right. Similarly, you can check this manager support for the training, right. So, here you can count the number of statement 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, 9 statements are there. So, here you can do the average in the same way. So, you can understand the managerial support is for the training is there or not, right. So, why I am saying these all things are important. So, if you will see this transfer of training, right. So, transfer of training, that is what you will see. The transfer of training, what are the things that impacts? So, individual factor, so that you can check like self efficacy, self efficacy, that is what you can check, and then motivation to learn, that is what you can check. For organizational factor like this climate, managerial support, learning culture, right, and then design issues, that is what you can check. So, if these all design, individual and organizational, all three factors are support have an impact on the transfer of training. So, all three things that you can diagnose wherever you need to make changes in order to increase the transfer of training, that is what you can do it. So, few things that you can diagnose through this scales. So, few things that I already said: positive climate, that is what you can diagnose; learning culture, that is what you can diagnose; as well as managerial support within the organization. So, in the organization, so after collecting the data from all three scales, you can diagnose, you can analyze the data department wise, you can analyze the data job category wise, you can analyze the data age wise, whichever, and then you can analyze where more learning environment is there, you can check where more managerial support is there. So, in that case you will see more this outcome of this transfer of training are good, right. So, that is why these diagnoses are important before conducting any training or before planning any training, so that you will be able to understand the outcome of that particular training. If any change that has to be made, you can make it, right? So another thing that I would suggest you to understand, what are the types of training programs are conducted. So here you can see formal trainings, how many number, what is the number, informal learning, right? So what are the number, knowledge sharing session, how many have been, right? Self regulated and self directed learning, how much opportunity is given, blended, right? MOOC and simulation, how many time, right? And how many online are given, right? So that is the number, that is what you can see it, and according to the numbers that you can divide into two categories, formal and informal, right? Online and offline, and then you can compare the transfer of training, right, in both cases, right? So first you have identified the types of training and then transfer of training. So in the next slide I will let you know how to see the transfer of training, right? So index wise, you have some items, you can develop the index and then you can calculate it in which case the transfer of training is high, whether in the case of offline or whether in the case of online, right? In which case this transfer of training is high, that is what you can calculate, right? And so it will help you to make a decision which type of training program you should organize more, right? So in the same way, the transfer of training you can calculate in for the department, for the various job categories, you can calculate for the various age categories, so that you will be able to give more customized training to these departments, to these various age categories and job categories, right? But before that, you need to do this assessment, you need to identify what are the types of training that your organization can provide, right? So that is what you can do it. So let us discuss how we will understand the impact of transfer of training, right? So first thing that you can calculate, in order to understand the transfer of training. So whatever skill that the training have taught or has trained the employees, so that you simply that you can ask how many times that person used that skill at his workplace, how many times that person got opportunity to use that skill, right? If it is used frequently, right, then you can say that relevance of training was very high. If that person forgot to use, it means that transfer of training was very poor. That person attended the training program, but due to that so many regions that we discussed earlier, learning environment, managerial support, self efficacy, motivation to learn, time pressure, that person was not able to learn that particular skill. So here first thing that you need to assess how many times that person got opportunity to use that particular skill, and then how effectively that person was able to use that particular skill. So number of opportunities, that is what you can ask simply, how many times that person has used that particular skill, right? If numbers, that person cannot, right? So that the number that you can ask simply, how many times that, how frequently that person used that particular skill. Second thing that you can see, because whatever that training is there that we already discussed, it solves the immediate requirement of the organization, right? So after attending that training program, internal process will improve because employee will perform, so the number of customer complaints should reduce. So if it is in reducing the number of customer complaints, right, then also you can say transfer of training was high. Next thing that you can check, the self efficacy of the employees. If self efficacy of the employees is high after the training program, then also you can say the transfer of training was good, because person feels confident only when that person is believing that person can execute the job, right? So if self efficacy is high, that is what you can see. Another parameter that you can use, number of individual errors, right? So how many, so whatever the job that person was doing, if that person is still keep on making the same type of error after attending the training program also, so then also you can say the transfer of training was poor. If number of individual error has reduced, then you can say the transfer of training was high. right, and cost reduction. So whatever cost, whatever job that person was doing, now the cost of that particular job has reduced, then you can say yes, transfer of training was high. Next, this customer satisfaction index. So if customer satisfaction has improved, employees are able to complete the new product development faster and sales has increased. So these are the outcome of the training. So if these outcome are good, then you can say the transfer of training is good. If these, the level of these outcomes is remaining same, right, then you can say before the training and after the training, both time the level of these all parameter is same, then you can say that the training has not made much difference. So the transfer of training is poor. So that is how you can see the you can check the transfer of training in any organization. So any of the parameter you can identify and you can collect the data related to that. In addition to that, one more thing that I would say, performance review data, right. So before the training and after the training, same recommendation is given for the skill development, same skill development suggestion is given, then also you can say the training of transfer of training was poor. So these are the parameters that you can analyze in order to understand the impact of transfer of training. Only one thing, you have to organize the data related to these particulars. It is not necessary you need to collect the data related to all variables. Whichever variable related data that you can collect, you collect it, right, before the training and after the training, and then see the difference. So if that indices are better performing, then you can say that the transfer of training is good, right. So method of training, how the training is being given, right. So how the training is being, so number of percentage of training. So let us assume 100 trainings are given in any organization. So how many are given through the instructor and how many are given through the technology and how many are given online, right. So just simply that you can understand the composition, because this composition will help you to utilize the training department better. Because if you have to manage the budget, right, then how many instructor based training that you can afford, your organization can afford, how many technology based training that you should develop, and how many online training that you should conduct in a year. So if you know the number of training, if you know the cost per employee in a training, right, how many employees that you have, then you can calculate the budget and accordingly you can manage the budget. So that is why it is important to know the method of training in your organization that is being used. So which method is being used, right, which method is being used, right. As well as one more analysis that you can do it, the various types of training is being given in your organization, right. So let us assume in one organization 1000 trainings are given, right. So what is the content of this training, right. So whether these training are industry specific, these trainings are for the managerial and supervisory role, and these trainings are for mandating and compliance, it is for IT and system, customer service or basic skills, right. So you can identify these number of trainings and then you can divide these all trainings into these categories. This analysis will help you to identify in which area you should focus more and in which area you should focus less. So how you can make this analysis? So by making the analysis based on the employees error analysis inside the organization, you can do it, as well as you can do the analysis of the customer complaint. So what kind of customer complaints are coming, right. And second thing that you can do it, employee errors at a workplace, right. So employee errors, that is what you can, so these two analysis that you can do it and see what are the themes are coming after these two analysis, and check whether these themes are aligned with your current training status or not. If it is not aligned, then you need to change the training, and you need to stop some of the trainings and you need to add some of the trainings, right. So this analysis, so which training has to be stopped and which training has new training program has to be introduced. So this decision that you can take based on this analysis. So what is the content is there, right. So that content analysis of all trainings, that is what you can do it. So or in one particular year, how many trainings are conducted in the organization, right. See what was the theme of that particular training program and divide these all trainings according to the themes, and then do the analysis of customer complaint and employee error which that employees are making at a workplace, and then see whether these trainings are aligned, training content is aligned with the errors or customer complaint or not. If not, then you need to add some more new training programs. If not, then if it is aligning, then you are not supposed to add. If it is not aligning, then you have to add some of, you have to stop some of the training programs. So this decision you can do by take by analyzing the content of the training. Next thing that you can do it, the training that has been designed, that you are designing. So what is the base, on what basis you are designing these all trainings. So first thing that you can do, the customer complaint analysis, as I was discussing. So right, so how many training program that you have designed based from the customer complaint, after analyzing the customer complaint. Low performance rating of the employees. So if employees are not performing well then or for particular skill, so how many training programs that you have organized. On job incident, some critical incident that are taking place, that may take place at a workplace. So because of that, you have an how many training program that you are conducting in your organization. And based on employee input, employee also can give a input. So you can conduct a survey and then you can identify the number of trainings based on the employee input, expert opinion and top management suggestion. So here you can write the number of training programs. So 1000 training programs are there. So you can divide 50, 50, 400, 400, 100 and 100. Right. So it will give you the idea for the origin of training program, right. So from where this origin is coming, right. So which training program that you should organize, whether, so from where it is originated, right. How many programs are coming, which program you have to stop, which one you should new program that you have to introduce. This analysis you can do from here also, right. So these all numbers are hypothetical numbers, right. But based on your organization repository, whatever the training numbers are there, so based on that you can decide and you can do the analysis. So this analysis also will help you to make a decision about which training program has to be introduced and which one not. So critical analysis of all existing training program that you can do based on this analysis also. Now what is happening, participants preference also getting changed, right, which by which method they would like to train themselves, right. So that preference also getting changed. So continuously you should conduct such kind of survey, which following training method would you prefer to get trained yourself, right. So these are the methods are there, whichever method, which are the method that comes in a top 3, top 4, right. Let us take for example, these 3 methods are the top 3 responded by the, on the basis of responses that we got from the employees. For example, we conducted this survey among the 3000 employees, and then we can write the percentage here or number of employees here, which employee is want which type of training, right. And then we can analyze this data department wise, age wise, right, and according to the age, according to the department, we can use the same type of this training method in order to increase the transfer of training. So I hope related to this transfer of training, you would have understood some of the analytics, some of the points, how you can make a decision by doing such kind of analysis. Thank you.